Catholic Church, one of the most ancient and widespread institutions in the world, exists in nearly every nation. Yet, even in the 21st century, there are places where practicing Catholicism is either outlawed, severely restricted, or exists in a dangerous gray zone. These are not just abstract policies, they are lived realities for millions who must choose between faith and fear, devotion and danger. In this six-part series, we'll take you across the globe to regions where Catholicism faces open hostility or outright bans. We begin by looking at the roots of religious suppression and the types of bans that exist today, because not all persecution looks the same. These bans often stem from deep political ideologies, national identities that exclude Christianity, or religious majorities who perceive the Catholic Church as a foreign threat. Take, for example, North Korea, where Catholicism is essentially extinct in public life. The state claims there is a Catholic community, but this is widely understood to be a state-run facade for propaganda. Genuine Catholic worship is illegal. Owning a Bible or being caught praying can result in imprisonment, execution, or exile to a labor camp. The regime sees religion as a direct competitor to the personality cult of the Kim dynasty. There is no room for a God who isn't the supreme leader. Another harsh environment is Saudi Arabia, where public expressions of Christianity, especially Catholicism, are strictly forbidden. The Vatican has no diplomatic presence in the country, and Catholic Mass is banned. Filipino and Indian workers often hold private, secret masses in compounds, risking deportation or jail if caught. Conversion from Islam to Catholicism is considered apostasy and can carry the death penalty. Even wearing a cross can provoke arrest. In these countries, suppression of Catholicism isn't just policy. It's a total erasure of Catholic identity from public life. No churches, no sacraments, no holy days. And for Catholics born in these regions, discovering and practicing their faith becomes an act of rebellion, courage, and sometimes martyrdom. For decades, the Chinese Communist Party has attempted to bring all religions under state control. The Catholic Church in China is split into two entities: the official Chinese Patriotic Catholic Association, CPCA, which is government-sanctioned, and the underground church, which remains loyal to the Vatican. Priests loyal to Rome are often harassed, imprisoned, or disappeared. Churches are demolished, crosses torn down, and surveillance cameras installed even inside places of worship. The faithful must constantly navigate between loyalty to God and fear of the state. Though recent Vatican-China agreements have sought compromise, local authorities often ignore or override them. The underground Catholic Church in China still suffers grave persecution. In Eritrea, a country often called the North Korea of Africa, the government allows only 4 religious groups to operate legally: the Eritrean Orthodox Church, Sunni Islam, the Evangelical Lutheran Church, and the Catholic Church. However, even these groups are heavily restricted. Catholic schools and hospitals have been confiscated by the government. Priests and bishops are under constant pressure to toe the party line, and those who speak out against injustice, especially in defense of human rights, risk arrest. In 2019, the government shut down 22 Catholic-run medical centers. It was a chilling message. If you serve the people more than the party, you will be crushed. Then there's Turkmenistan, where freedom of religion is virtually non-existent. The Catholic Church is not officially recognized, and there are no dioceses or parishes. Small groups of Catholics, often foreign diplomats or workers, gather in private homes under the radar, relying on traveling clergy from other nations. Local converts face immense pressure from the government and society. The fear of being watched or denounced is constant. In these countries, Catholicism isn't erased with the blunt force of law. it's suffocated slowly, quietly, and ruthlessly. Faith is forced into the shadows, and yet, despite the danger, the Church persists underground in whispered prayers and hidden altars. There are places where Catholicism is not banned on paper, yet the lived reality for believers feels like exile in their own land. Consider India, where Catholics are part of a long-standing Christian minority dating back to St. Thomas the Apostle. Yet, in recent years, fueled by rising Hindu nationalism, the Catholic Church has come under increasing scrutiny. While Christianity is not illegal, Catholic communities, especially in rural areas, have faced a wave of attacks. Churches have been burned, priests have been beaten, nuns have been assaulted. Accusations of forced conversions are frequently used to justify these attacks, even when individuals have freely chosen the faith. New laws in several states severely restrict conversions and place the burden of proof on the Church, making even acts of charity suspect. In Pakistan, the persecution of Catholics is brutal and often deadly. The infamous blasphemy laws are used as weapons against Christians, including Catholics, who are falsely accused of insulting Islam. Even rumors can spark riots. Asia Bibi, a Catholic mother of 5, spent 8 years on death row after a baseless accusation of blasphemy. Catholics often work the most dangerous and degrading jobs in sanitation and brick kilns, viewed as unclean by the dominant Muslim majority. Attending Mass can be an act of courage, as churches have been targeted by suicide bombers. Protection is minimal, justice rare. In Sri Lanka, anti-Catholic sentiment simmers beneath the surface. Though Catholics make up a significant minority, tensions between religious groups have escalated, especially following the 2019 Easter bombings, in which multiple Catholic churches were attacked, leaving hundreds dead. The government's response was sluggish and, to many Catholics, suspiciously inadequate. Investigations were delayed, evidence destroyed, and accountability obscured. Many church leaders believe political forces used the tragedy for electoral advantage, further marginalizing their already fragile community. These nations showcase a different kind of ban, a societal excommunication. Even without laws declaring Catholicism illegal, fear, hatred, and discrimination push the faithful to the fringes. In Nicaragua, once a deeply Catholic nation, the current regime under President Daniel Ortega has declared open war against the Church. In recent years, the Nicaraguan government has shut down Catholic radio stations, expelled religious orders like the Missionaries of Charity, and even arrested priests and bishops. Bishop Rolando Alvarez, a vocal critic of Ortega's human rights abuses, was placed under house arrest and later sentenced to over 26 years in prison for treason. Masses are monitored, and public religious processions have been banned in many areas. The regime accuses the Church of fueling unrest and undermining national unity. But in truth, it is punishing the Church for refusing to be silent in the face of injustice. Similarly, in Cuba, the Catholic Church has often found itself walking a tightrope. Although churches exist, they operate under the shadow of state control. Priests and bishops who challenge the communist government's abuses face surveillance, harassment, and threats. The Church played a quiet role in resisting the regime during the Cold War, and that suspicion has never fully disappeared. Religious education is banned in public schools, and Catholic youth groups often operate covertly. When anti-government protests broke out in 2021, several Catholic leaders stood in solidarity with the people. The response? Police raids, interrogations, and warnings to keep quiet or disappear. In Vietnam, the Catholic Church walks a similarly dangerous path. While technically permitted, it remains under close state supervision. All bishops must be approved by the government, and the church is banned from owning media or operating freely in civil society. Priests who speak out about land grabs, environmental issues, or corruption quickly find themselves labeled subversives. In the Central Highlands, Catholic ethnic minorities face intense pressure to renounce their faith or face expulsion from their villages. Here, being Catholic doesn't just make you a second-class citizen, it can make you a marked one. Perhaps nowhere is this more visible than in Nigeria, where Catholicism is under siege by multiple armed factions. Boko Haram, the Islamic State West Africa province, ISWAP, and Fulani militants have waged years of brutal violence against Christian communities in the North and Middle Belt. Churches are burned during Sunday Mass. Priests are kidnapped and murdered. Congregations are gunned down in broad daylight. In one horrific 2022 attack, over 40 Catholics were killed during Pentecost Mass in Owo, Ondo State. The government's response has been timid at best, and many suspect that certain factions within the military quietly sympathize with the attackers. Catholic bishops in Nigeria have cried out to the world for help, warning that a slow genocide is unfolding. In Afghanistan, the situation is even more dire. The Catholic Church exists only in the form of a tiny chapel inside the Italian embassy in Kabul. After the Taliban's return to power in 2021, any possibility of public Catholic worship vanished completely. Conversion to Christianity is punishable by death under strict Islamic law. Catholics, most of whom are foreign aid workers or diplomats, must practice in secret. Any local Afghans who express interest in the faith are at extreme risk of execution, even by their own families. Even in places like the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the Catholic Church plays a crucial humanitarian and educational role, priests and nuns are frequently targeted in conflict zones. Armed rebel groups raid convents and parishes for supplies, kidnap clergy, and threaten those who advocate for peace or justice. The Church becomes a casualty of a war it did not start, but cannot escape. These war-torn regions reveal a terrifying truth. In the chaos of conflict, Catholics are often treated as disposable, their churches reduced to rubble, their communities scattered. And still, they gather, they pray, they rebuild,